Hey everyone, here's a video going over a few of the problems from assignment 7, particularly number 1, number 2, and then the very last one. So I wanted to walk through these carefully because at this point with the race 2 games, I'm looking for the correct strategy. And so here's how to tackle those. We're past the exploration phase, and we just want to really explain the guaranteed winning strategy. So when you see a race 2 game, the first thing to do is add the increments. So I'm going to do 1 plus 4, which is 5. Okay. And then what you're going to do next is divide 76 by 5. So 5 goes into 76. And really what you're after here is the remainder, right? So this is 15 with a remainder of 1. And the remainder of 1 is the key. To win these games, you want to get the remainder. And so in this case, in order to get the remainder, you're going to want to go first, right? You don't want your opponent to get the remainder. Okay, go first and then take 1. And then after that, once you've done that, you've pretty much won the game. All you have to do is do the opposite of your opponent. Meaning, if they take 4 numbers, you take 1. If they take 1 number, you take 4. That way, every round is going to be in increments of 5. 1 plus 4, 5. But you've already got that remainder. So as you go through and add 5 each time, you'll guarantee that you land on the 76. Okay. If you're not certain about that, try it out. Try that strategy, race to 76, see if that strategy wins you the game. Okay. So in summary, when you're doing these race to whatever games, increments of whatever, add the increments, divide that number into the race 2 game, and then take the remainder. If we had a remainder of 4, I would take 4 and go first. If there is no remainder, that's when you go second. You let them make the mistake by going first, and then you do the opposite, and you'll win. Okay, so there's the strategy for all of those. The next one, this one was a little tricky. So we first know that 6, 9, and 8 are not in the number, that's for sure. So one strategy you can use, I've seen students using this strategy, which is, I think, helpful. Just write out all of the digits and start crossing them out as you go. So 6, 9, and 8 are not in the number. And then now what do we do? Well, I'm looking at B and C for my next clue. Both of them have 5 and 7. So that at first glance, it looks like 5 and 7 are in the number. However, if we look closely, 5, let's look at 5. From guess B, 5 cannot be in the first place, right? Because 0 places are correct. And from guess C, 5 cannot be in the second place. So that must mean if 5 is in the number, it's in the third digit, it's the last digit, okay? Now let's look at 7. Same reasoning. Here, for guess B, 7 cannot be in the second digit. And guess C, 7 cannot be in the first digit. So if 7 is in the number, it's also in the last digit. Well, both of them cannot be the last digit. So that explanation, 5 and 7 aren't together in the number. It's either one or the other, right? And one of them is that last digit, right? It's either the 5 or the 7, okay? Now, looking back at guess B, that must mean since 5 and 7 are not in the number, 4 must be, because this is a 2 right here. 2 of those digits are in the number. It's not both 5 and 7, so it's either 5 and 7 and then must be 4. Same reasoning for C. 5 and 7 are not in the number, so it's either 5 or 7 and 1 because of that 2 right there. So by guess B and C, 4 and 1 are in the number. And we're getting closer. All right. So we've got the digits now, right? It's either 5 or 7 and 4 and 1. Okay. Now let's look at guess D. We haven't looked at that guess yet. Well, we know four and one are in the number, guaranteed. So by guess D, one is in there, and there's one number here and in the right place. So now I see that one is the second digit. That must be the one they're talking about. The middle digit, we'll call it. 10th place. Which means that 3 and 5 are not in there, right? Because only one digit here is in the number, right? So it's got to be the 1, because we already established that 1 and 4 are in. So 3 and 5 are out. If 5 is out, then 7 must be in, right? And now we know the numbers, 4, 1, and 7, right? So we have 4, 1, and 7 are in. Okay. Now we just have to get the order right. We know 1 is in the middle. So let's look at the 7. Where must the 7 be? We already talked about that by guesses B and C. 7 is not in the second place. By guess C, 7 is not in the first digit, so it must be the third digit. Okay, so 1 is the second digit, 7 is the third digit, which only leaves one remaining spot, which is the 4. And we already established 4 is in the number, so I can't put in something like 3. So I know the number has to be 417 in the end. Once you have a potential guess, call that a conjecture, I would go back through all of the clues and make sure the clues are right for this number to catch any mistakes I might have made. So let's test 417. Guess A, that's correct. If 417 is the number, I would do a 00 for 698. How about for 574? 2 digits are correct, none in the right place. Yep, that's right. If 4, 1, and 7 is the number, we have 4 and 7, and neither of them are in the right place. Same for C. 2 of those digits are in the number. Yep, they're talking about 1 and 7, neither one in the right place. And then finally, 315, only one of those digits, the 1, is in the right place and in the number, so that checks all the clues. Okay, so 417 is it. Okay, finally, for these problems, really what I'm looking for is the steps and the clear work, like I outlined it in the previous assignment. So make sure you're going through all of those steps, even though you might now have a formula and you think, oh, I could just do it short way, just do a little formula. Not looking for that, looking for the steps clearly written out. Okay, and the tricky one then was C. So let's look at C. So the way I would want to write these out is I would set n equal to the number. And this one's a little different than what we've seen because that's not all of the numbers. It's not consecutive, right? It's just even numbers. But I'm still approaching it the same way, right? I'm going to reverse it. Okay, and you don't have to write them all out. You can if you want to, but that's a lot. So I just put that ... in the middle. Okay, and now we add them up. So n plus n, add these two equations. We have 2 plus 62, and then plus we have 4 plus 60, plus, okay, let's not write them all. Let's just get to those last two. We have 60 plus 4, and we have 62 plus 2. Okay. Now notice all of those in the parentheses add up to the same number. They're all 64s, and n plus n is 2n. All right, so I just have a bunch of 64s. And at this point, I got to figure out how many 64s are here. Okay, well, if there was consecutive, right, 1 through 62, there would be 62 numbers. But here, half of them are missing, right? All of the odd numbers are missing. 1, 3, 5, 7 are not there, right? So half of them are missing. That means 62 divided by 2, there are 31 numbers. 62 divided by 2 equals 31. There's 31 total numbers there. Okay. If you have problems like this that skip some numbers and they're all multiples, so in this case, they're all multiples of 2, to figure out a quick way to figure out how many of them there are, take this and divide it by that, right? And that will tell you how many numbers are in the sum, as long as there's a pattern, right? multiples of 2, multiples of 3, multiples of 4, multiples of 5. Take the first number divided by the last number, or take the last number divided by the first number, and that's going to tell you how many numbers are in the sum. Okay, so continuing with this one now, this is going to be 31 times 64. And then finally, n is going to be 31 times 64 divided by 2, which is 992. Okay, I hope that was helpful. And some of those will appear on the quiz, so this will be a good thing to review before you take that quiz. Okay, hope all is well. Send questions my way if you have any, and I will talk to you later.